Some roads lead to destinations. Others lead to nightmares. There is a bridge just outside a forgotten town where the wind does not whisper, it wails. A place where shadows do not merely shift, they chase. A path where the air is thick, suffocating, and whispers echo from nowhere. They say the bridge is cursed, that something waits there. Every town has its legends, its ghost stories told to keep children from wandering too far. But this is different. No one dares cross the bridge at midnight, not after what happened all those years ago, not after the screams. But what if someone did? What if someone ignored the warnings, laughed in the face of fear, and took that midnight walk? Would they come back? Or would the bridge keep them? Tell me, would you cross the bridge at midnight? Let me know in the comments. And before we dive into this chilling tale, make sure to like, subscribe, and share for more terrifying stories. Now let's begin. The town of Blackridge was nothing more than a fading whisper on the map, a place where time seemed to stall, where the wind carried secrets instead of dust. It wasn't the kind of town that welcomed strangers, nor did it need to. Anyone who passed through never stayed long enough to hear the whispers, never lingered to see the shadows stretch unnaturally beneath the moonlight. At the heart of this forgotten town lay the Blackridge Bridge, a decaying structure of rotting wood and rusted metal that stretched across the Silver Creek. It was old, older than the town itself, some claimed. It groaned when the wind touched it and shuddered when night fell. The bridge had rules. Never cross it after dark. Never speak when walking across it, and above all, never cross it at midnight. People told stories, whispers exchanged over dying lanterns, spoken with trembling lips. A long time ago, something happened on that bridge, something no one could forget. Some claimed to have seen figures standing at the center, motionless yet watching. Others swore they heard voices that did not belong to the living. But the one thing that sent shivers down every spine, that kept people locked inside their homes when the clock struck 12, was the screaming. Every night at midnight, the bridge screamed. It started as a distant wail, an aching sorrow carried on the wind. Then it grew, the deep, guttural, agonized, a shriek that rattled windows and sent animals into a frenzy. No one knew what caused it. No one dared to find out. But curiosity is a disease, and some infections never heal. The dare Nathan Cole wasn't afraid of ghost stories. At 19, he had spent his whole life in Blackridge, suffocated by its small-town paranoia. He didn't believe in curses or haunted bridges. To him, the stories were just that, stories. So when his friends dared him to cross the bridge at midnight, he accepted without hesitation. "You walk across," his friend Jesse smirked, flicking a cigarette into the dirt. "Start on one end, make it to the other, and we'll give you $100. Nathan rolled his eyes. $100? That's it? Jesse shrugged. Fine, 200, but you gotta do it alone. The small group of friends gathered around him, their faces half lit by the flickering glow of their flashlights. Some of them laughed, others shifted uneasily. None of them would ever dare take the challenge themselves. "You're all cowards," Nathan scoffed. "It's just a bridge." It was just a bridge, until it wasn't. The walk, Nathan stepped onto the wooden planks. The air was colder here, biting. The night stretched long and empty around him, the trees on either side standing like silent sentinels. His friends stayed behind, their flashlights glowing like tiny stars in the darkness. The first few steps were easy. The wood groaned under his weight, but he kept walking, hands stuffed in his jacket pockets. The bridge was longer than he remembered, stretching unnaturally into the distance. Halfway across, the wind picked up. It howled through the rusted railings, a low moan that rose and fell like a breath. Nathan swallowed, his pace slowing. The planks beneath his feet felt damp, slick, like something had been spilled there. Then he heard it, a whisper. Soft, delicate, like a breath against his ear. "Go back." Nathan froze. The sound had come from beside him, but there was nothing there, just the emptiness of the bridge and the river below. His heart pounded against his ribs. He took another step. The wind shrieked. The whisper returned. "Go back." A shiver ran down his spine. He turned sharply, scanning the darkness. His friends were still on the other side, watching, waiting. They couldn't hear it. A trick of the wind, he told himself. Just the bridge creaking. Then something moved. A shadow. Just ahead. Not a trick of the light. Not his imagination. A figure stood at the far end of the bridge, motionless, waiting. Nathan's breath hitched. It was too dark to see clearly. He took a step back. The figure took a step forward. The air thickened. The bridge groaned louder. And then, a scream tore through the night. Not a human scream. Not anything of this world. It was deep, echoing, filled with agony so raw it clawed at his bones. The bridge shook beneath him. The shadows around him twisted and stretched. His friends were shouting now, their voices distant, panicked. Nathan turned and ran. The planks beneath his feet buckled. The scream rose, louder, angrier. He tripped, crashing onto the wood, hands scraping against the jagged edges. Something grabbed his ankle. Cold, icy, fingers that weren't fingers, wrapping around his skin like mist made solid. Nathan kicked. He scrambled forward. The fingers tightened. And then, silence. Everything stopped. The screaming ceased. The wind died. The bridge stood still. Nathan gasped, dragging himself to his feet. His friends were at the other end, yelling for him. But the figure, the thing, was gone. Without looking back, he ran. He didn't stop until he collapsed on the other side, his chest heaving, his body trembling. "What the hell was that?" Jesse shouted, grabbing his shoulders. Nathan's mouth opened, but no words came out. He turned to look back at the bridge, at the dark emptiness stretching across the water. There was nothing there. But the bridge was still screaming. Nathan sat in Jesse's car, staring blankly at his trembling hands. His breathing was uneven, his skin clammy. The others were talking, their voices sharp with panic, but he couldn't focus. All he could hear was the bridge, still screaming, somewhere in the distance. Jesse slammed his fist on the dashboard. "What the hell, man? You were supposed to walk across and come back. What the hell was that?" Nathan's throat was dry. "There was something there." "No!" Jesse snapped, shaking his head. "No, there wasn't." "Yes, there was." Nathan's voice was eerily calm. "It grabbed me." The car fell silent. Alyssa, who had been quiet this whole time, whispered, "You mean, like, a person?" Nathan slowly lifted his pant leg. The others leaned in, their breath hitching when they saw it, an imprint around his ankle, a deep, frost-bitten ring where someone had held him. Alyssa covered her mouth. Jesse cursed under his breath. "I don't know what it was," Nathan murmured, "but it wasn't human." No one spoke after that. The group left the bridge in a rush, tires kicking up gravel as they sped away from the cursed place. But Nathan wasn't done with the bridge, because the bridge wasn't done with him. The nightmares begin. Nathan barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he was back on the bridge, standing in that suffocating darkness. He could feel the figure watching him, feel the cold grip on his ankle. And then, always, the scream. It wasn't just a sound. It was inside him, rattling his skull, burrowing into his soul. At exactly midnight, he woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. His ankle burned where the thing had touched him. He pulled back his blanket and froze. The frost-bitten imprint was darker now, veins spreading from the wound, like blackened roots. A knock at the window made him jump. His heart stopped. He turned his head slowly. Breath caught in his throat. Outside his second-story window, something was standing there. It shouldn't have been possible. He was on the second floor. No ledges, no trees, and yet it was there. Nathan's mouth went dry. The figure was tall, its face wrong, a blur of shadows and twisted flesh. Its eyes were empty voids, hollow pits that sucked the air from the room. Then it lifted a hand. It pointed at him. Nathan threw himself backward, scrambling for the light switch. The bulb flickered, once, twice, before bathing the room in a harsh glow. He spun back to the window. The figure was gone, but the glass was frosted over. Something follows. The next day, Nathan didn't speak. He didn't tell his parents. He didn't tell his friends. What could he even say? That something from the bridge had followed him? He tried to ignore it. He really did. But he could feel it. Everywhere he went, it was there. A shadow in his periphery, a whisper in an empty hallway, his reflection lingering in mirrors when he turned away. That night, Jesse called. "Dude," Jesse's voice was shaky. "Something's wrong." Nathan sat up. "What?" I I don't know. Ever since last night, weird stuff's been happening. My dog won't go near my room. My phone screen glitched out at exactly midnight. And I swear, dude, I saw. Jesse stopped, his breath ragged. "I saw something in my closet." Nathan felt ice in his veins. "You saw it too?" Jesse hesitated. "Too?" Nathan clenched his jaw. "It's following us." Alyssa called 10 minutes later. She was sobbing. "I heard it, Nathan," she gasped through tears. "I heard the screaming. In my house. Inside my freaking house." Panic clawed at his throat. "Are you okay?" "No," she snapped. I I don't know what to do. My mom thinks I'm going crazy, but I heard it. It was inside my room." Nathan swallowed hard. "I think," his voice shook, "I think we brought something back." Silence. Then Jesse whispered, "We have to go back." Nathan's breath caught. "What?" "We have to go back to the bridge," Jesse repeated. "We need to see what it wants." Nathan wanted to say hell no, wanted to tell Jesse to burn that bridge to the ground and never look back. But the truth was, he already knew. The bridge wasn't going to let them go. It had already chosen them. Back to the bridge midnight. The wind howled as the three of them stood at the entrance of Black Ridge Bridge, their flashlights cutting through the dense fog. The air was thick, heavier than before. The darkness was alive, shifting and pulsing like it had a heartbeat. Alyssa clutched Nathan's arm. "I don't want to do this," she whispered. Jesse swallowed hard. "We have to." Nathan took a deep breath. "Let's go." They stepped onto the bridge. The wood groaned under their weight, the air chilling with each step. Halfway across, the whispers returned. "Go back," Alyssa whimpered. Jesse gritted his teeth. The whispers grew louder, angrier. "Go back. Go back. Go back." Nathan's flashlight flickered. Then it went out. Total darkness. Alyssa screamed. Jesse cursed, scrambling for his phone. Nathan fumbled for his lighter, striking the flame. And then the screaming started. Not Alyssa's, not Jesse's. The bridge itself. The sound erupted from beneath them, rattling their bones, shaking the very air around them. It was raw, hungry, an agonized, guttural wail that tore through the night. Then footsteps, not theirs, coming from both ends of the bridge. Nathan's blood ran cold. "Run!" But before they could, a hand shot out of the darkness, grabbing Alyssa by the wrist. She shrieked, twisting, struggling, but the fingers, cold, dead fingers, held tight. Nathan lunged for her. "Hold on!" But the hand yanked her back. And the bridge began to break. Alyssa's scream ripped through the night as the hand dragged her backward. Nathan lunged, his fingers brushing against hers, but the force yanked her away, pulling her into the darkness. Then the bridge began to break. The planks beneath their feet groaned and split apart, gaps forming as something unseen tore at the wood. Jesse grabbed Nathan's arm. "We have to go!" Nathan's mind screamed no. He couldn't leave Alyssa, but the bridge had other plans. The structure shuddered violently, wood snapping like brittle bones. A massive crack echoed through the air as one of the rusted support beams snapped. The whole bridge lurched downward. Nathan lost his balance and slammed onto the decaying planks. Splinters sliced into his palms, but he didn't care. His eyes scanned the darkness wildly, searching for Alyssa. She was gone. Jesse hauled him up. "Move!" Nathan's breath came in shallow gasps. He wanted to fight. He wanted to search. But the bridge was falling apart beneath them, and the screaming, it was getting closer. Nathan didn't think anymore. He ran. Jesse was ahead of him, his flashlight flickering wildly as they raced toward the other end of the bridge. Behind them, the planks were collapsing one by one, sinking into the endless blackness below. But Nathan barely noticed, because as As the bridge tore itself apart, he heard it. Alyssa's voice. "Nathan, help!" His blood turned to ice. It wasn't coming from behind them. It wasn't coming from the other side of the bridge. It was coming from below. Jesse made it to the end, throwing himself onto solid ground. He turned back, eyes wild. "Nathan, jump!" But Nathan had stopped. He was standing at the very edge of the breaking bridge, staring down into the yawning black void beneath. The river should have been there. The cold waters of Silver Creek should have been rushing beneath him. But there was nothing. No water, no ground, no bottom, just an endless abyss. And from within that abyss, Alyssa's voice echoed up to him. "Nathan, please, I'm down here." Nathan's heart pounded violently. His instincts screamed at him to run, to escape while he still could. But Alyssa was down there. Jesse grabbed him. "Nathan, let's go!" The bridge gave one final groan. Then it collapsed. Nathan barely had time to react. Jesse's hands yanked him backward as the remaining planks snapped away, crumbling into the abyss. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, the screaming stopped, and all that was left was the wind. Aftermath, Nathan lay on the dirt, chest heaving, staring up at the empty night sky. Jesse was beside him, panting, hands clutching his knees. Neither of them spoke. The bridge was gone. Not just broken, not just collapsed. Gone. Where it had once stood, there was nothing but empty air stretching over Silver Creek. No wreckage, no debris, no Alyssa. Nathan's fingers dug into the earth. His body shook violently. Jesse finally found his voice. "We need to tell someone." Nathan's breath came in shaky bursts. "Tell them what?" His voice was raw. "That a bridge vanished? That Alyssa was dragged into a hole that doesn't exist?" Jesse didn't answer. Because they both knew the truth, no one would believe them. The investigation by morning, the police were swarming the site. Nathan and Jesse told them what they could, how the bridge had collapsed, how Alyssa had fallen. They left out the part about the hands, the voices, the screaming. They expected disbelief. What they got was worse. Sheriff Walker listened quietly, his face a mask of unreadable tension. When Nathan finished, the sheriff simply nodded and said, "Go home." Nathan blinked. "What?" Sheriff Walker's expression didn't change. "You and your friend. Go home, forget about this." Jesse scoffed. "Forget? Alyssa is missing. We have to go home." There was no room for argument. Nathan clenched his fists. "You knew," he said quietly. "You knew something was wrong with that bridge." Sheriff Walker's jaw tightened. Then he turned and walked away. Nathan felt sick. Jesse exhaled sharply. "This is messed up, man. They're covering it up." Nathan barely heard him because his mind was stuck on one thing. Alyssa's voice. It had called to him from the abyss. And if her voice was still calling, then maybe, just maybe, she was still alive. The phone call that night, Nathan lay awake, staring at his ceiling. His thoughts spiraled endlessly. What had they unleashed? Was Alyssa really gone? Or was she somewhere else? Then, his phone rang. The screen glowed in the darkness. An unknown number. Nathan's stomach twisted. His fingers hovered over the screen. Every instinct told him not to answer. But he did. He lifted the phone to his ear, and what he heard froze his blood. "Nathan, help me." Alyssa's voice. But it was wrong. It was distorted, warped by static. Too slow, too deep, like something was wearing her voice. Nathan's chest tightened. "Alyssa?" Silence, then, "Come back." Nathan's heart stopped. The line went dead. And outside his window, the glass frosted over. Nathan sat in his darkened bedroom, gripping his phone so tightly his knuckles turned white. His breath was uneven, and his heart slammed against his ribs. The screen had gone black. The call was gone, but Alyssa's voice still echoed in his head. "Come back." His gaze flickered to the window. The glass was still frosted over, an unnatural chill creeping into the room. He knew he should turn away. pretend he never heard it, but instead he stood up. His feet felt like lead as he stepped toward the window. The frost spread as if it sensed him, thickening as his breath fogged against the glass. And then, a shadow moved on the other side. Nathan's pulse stopped. The shadow had no features, no form, just a tall, looming figure pressing against the window. Then it knocked. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Nathan stumbled back, his breath hitching. He tried to look away, but his body wouldn't move. The figure raised a hand. It pressed against the glass. And slowly, agonizingly slowly, it started to push through. The frost cracked and splintered, the glass warping as a long, unnatural hand emerged from the window pane. Nathan bolted. He grabbed his phone, ripped open his door, and sprinted down the hall. The air behind him grew ice cold, but he didn't stop. He flew down the stairs, nearly tripping over himself as he grabbed his car keys. He had to go. He had to get out, because something had followed him home, and he knew exactly where it wanted him to go. Jesse's house. Nathan barely remembered the drive. His hands were shaking on the wheel, and every streetlight he passed flickered, like it was dying. Jesse's house was dark when he pulled up. Nathan stumbled out of the car, running to the door and pounding on it. "Jesse, open up!" Silence. Nathan's stomach tightened. He knocked harder. "Jesse!" Still nothing. A sharp wave of fear crashed over him. He grabbed the doorknob. It twisted open immediately. Nathan hesitated. Jesse never left his door unlocked. A bad feeling clawed at his chest, but he stepped inside anyway. The house was too quiet. Nathan took slow steps forward, his heartbeat thundering in his ears. Then, a faint creak upstairs. His breath hitched. Someone was moving. Nathan swallowed hard. "Jesse?" Silence. The hair on the back of his neck rose. Something was wrong. He crept toward the stairs, his feet barely making a sound against the wood. The second floor was shrouded in darkness. The hallway stretched out before him, Jesse's bedroom door slightly ajar. Nathan's fingers curled into fists. He stepped forward. Then Jesse's door slammed shut. Nathan froze. For a long moment there was nothing. No movement. No sound. Then, a whisper. "Come in." It wasn't Jesse's voice. It wasn't any voice he recognized. It was wrong. Too deep. Too distorted. Like something was wearing Jesse's voice. Nathan backed away, heart hammering. His instincts screamed at him to run. Then, a single, slow knock from the other side of the door. Nathan turned and bolted. He flew down the stairs, nearly tripping over his own feet, his breath coming in sharp, ragged gasps. The front door swung open on its own. Nathan didn't care. He sprinted to his car, jumped inside, and tore out of the driveway, tires screeching against the pavement. He didn't stop, didn't look back, because whatever was in that house wasn't Jesse. The truth. Nathan's hands were shaking as he gripped the wheel. He didn't know where he was driving. His thoughts were a chaotic storm of terror. Alyssa was gone. Jesse was gone. And now something was wearing their voices. Nathan pulled into a deserted parking lot, pressing his forehead against the steering wheel, trying to breathe. Then his phone buzzed. He nearly jumped out of his skin. With trembling fingers, he lifted the screen. A new text message. "Unknown number. Come back." Nathan's breath hitched. The message came with an image. His stomach twisted violently as he opened it. It was a photo of Blackridge Bridge. But the bridge was still there. Perfect. Untouched. Like it had never collapsed at all. Nathan's grip tightened on the phone. His pulse pounded in his ears. He knew what this meant. The bridge was waiting for him. And if he ever wanted to see Alyssa and Jesse again, he had to go back. The return midnight. Nathan stood at the edge of Blackridge Bridge, or rather, whatever this place was now. The bridge looked the same decaying wood, the same eerie fog curling over the surface. But something felt different, like the bridge itself was breathing. Nathan took a step forward. The instant his foot touched the wood, the air changed. A deep, bone-chilling cold spread through the air. The wind died completely. And then, the whispers returned. "You shouldn't have come back." Nathan's pulse skyrocketed. He turned sharply, shining his flashlight through the thick fog. No one was there. Then, a voice. Nathan! He spun around. Alyssa stood at the center of the bridge. Nathan's breath caught. Alyssa! She didn't move. Her eyes were wrong. Too black. Too empty. Nathan! Her voice wasn't hers. And then, behind her, the fog shifted, and something huge began to rise from the darkness. Nathan's body locked up. Alyssa stood at the center of the bridge, her face pale and empty, her eyes black voids that swallowed the light. But it was what stood behind her that made his blood turn to ice. The fog rolled back like a curtain, revealing something rising from the abyss. It wasn't human. It wasn't even trying to be. It was tall, hunched, its body twisting unnaturally as it pulled itself up from the nothingness below. Its limbs were too long, too jagged, a black mass of shifting shapes and clawed hands. And its face, number. It didn't have a face, just a wide, gaping hole where a mouth should be, a mouth that began to open. Nathan took a shaky step back. His body screamed at him to run, but Alyssa's voice stopped him. Nathan, she whispered. His breath hitched. Alyssa! She was standing still, unnaturally still, but her lips weren't moving. The words were spilling from her mouth, but she wasn't saying them. Nathan's stomach twisted. Something was speaking through her. Then, the bridge shuddered. Nathan nearly lost his balance as the planks beneath him vibrated violently, groaning under an unseen force. The thing behind Alyssa was moving now, its spindly arms reaching for her. Nathan snapped out of his trance. He lunged forward. His fingers brushed Alyssa's wrist. And then she screamed. It was not a human sound. It was a shriek that split the air, something raw and inhuman. Nathan staggered backward, his ears ringing. His vision blurred for a second, but when it cleared, Alyssa was gone. The creature had pulled her into the fog. Nathan's breath came in panicked bursts. No, he choked out. His heart slammed against his ribs as he took another step forward. But the bridge shook violently again. Then, a second figure stepped from the fog. Nathan froze. It was Jesse. But like Alyssa, his eyes were hollow. Nathan. His voice was flat, empty. Help me. Nathan's entire body was trembling. What's happening? He whispered. Jesse tilted his head. Then suddenly he was inches away. Nathan gasped, stumbling back. He hadn't even seen Jesse move. It was like the space between them had simply vanished. Jesse's lips parted slightly. Leave. Nathan barely had time to process the word before the bridge split open beneath him. The fall. Nathan had no time to react. The planks beneath his feet snapped apart, and suddenly he was falling. He expected to hit the river. Then, a whisper. Low, ancient, crawling through his bones. We've been waiting for you. Nathan's blood went cold. Then, a hand shot from the darkness. Long, skeletal fingers clawed into his arm, yanking him downward faster. Nathan screamed, thrashing wildly. His nails dug into the thing's wrist, but it wouldn't let go. More hands erupted from the void. They grasped his ankles, his shoulders, his throat. They dragged him deeper. Nathan fought, kicking, punching, screaming. But the more he struggled, the tighter they clutched him. Then, a voice right in his ear. Software. Sickly sweet. You belong to us now. Nathan's vision blurred, his lungs burned. And then, everything went black. The awakening, Nathan's eyes snapped open. He was lying on solid ground. For a moment, his body refused to move. His limbs were numb, ice cold. His breath came in ragged gasps. Slowly, painfully, he sat up, and his stomach plummeted. He wasn't on the bridge anymore. He was somewhere else. The sky above him was wrong. Not black, not blue, just a swirling mass of shifting shadows. The air was thick and heavy, pressing against his skin like something alive. The bridge was nowhere in sight. There was only a narrow path of black stone stretching endlessly into the distance. Nathan swallowed hard. Then, a sound. A slow, wet, dragging noise. Nathan's breath hitched. His head snapped to the side, and his blood froze. Alyssa was there, but she wasn't alone. Something was holding her. A towering shadowed figure loomed behind her, its fingers buried in her shoulders. Its face was still nothing but a gaping black void, but now it was splitting open wider. Alyssa's head jerked toward him. Her eyes were pitch black, her lips parted. "Run!" Nathan's body reacted before his brain did. He turned and sprinted. The ground rumbled beneath him, shifting and cracking. The air was thick, suffocating, but he forced himself forward. Behind him, the creature let out a low, guttural sound. Then, it chased him. Nathan ran harder, faster, his lungs burning. The path ahead twisted, shifting, but he didn't stop. Because he knew, if he slowed down even for a second, it would catch him. Nathan ran. The black stone path stretched endlessly ahead, twisting and shifting like it was alive. His breath came in ragged bursts, his heart hammering so hard he thought it would burst. Behind him, something was coming. A heavy, inhuman presence loomed in the darkness, moving with a sound that wasn't footsteps, but something worse. A wet dragging, a deep, shuddering breath. Nathan didn't dare look back. The air grew colder, heavier, like the very space around him was collapsing in. Then, the whispers returned. "Nathan ... Don't run. Come back." Alyssa's voice, Jesse's voice, voices that weren't their own. Nathan gritted his teeth. No! He didn't trust them. Not anymore. The path beneath him suddenly cracked. Nathan stumbled, barely catching himself before pitching forward. But the moment he slowed, something grabbed his ankle. Nathan screamed, kicking violently. Cold, bony fingers clawed at his skin, dragging him downward. He twisted, eyes wild, and his stomach dropped. The hands weren't attached to bodies. They sprouted from the path itself, clawing their way toward him like they had minds of their own. Nathan thrashed, tearing himself free. He scrambled forward, panting, trembling. Then, a sound like ripping flesh, a deep, guttural screech. Nathan whipped his head up, and his blood ran cold. The thing chasing him had stopped. It was standing just beyond the cracked ground, its grotesque, shifting form twisting unnaturally. For a split second, Nathan thought it was stuck. Then he saw it wasn't moving because it didn't need to. Something else was coming. The endless abyss. The darkness ahead rippled. Nathan's breath hitched as a hole split open in the path. It was deep, too deep, an endless void stretching into infinity. And from within it, a new figure began to rise. Nathan's vision blurred. He tried to focus, but the figure was wrong. His mind couldn't fully comprehend it. It shifted between too many shapes, too many faces. For a second, it looked like Alyssa, then Jesse, then his mother. Then, it turned into him. Nathan's body locked up. The figure stepped forward, and its voice, his voice, rippled through the air. "Why are you running, Nathan?" Nathan's pulse skyrocketed. It spoke exactly like him. The same tone, the same voice, a perfect mimic. Nathan took a shaky step back. What are you?" The thing tilted its head. "I am you." Nathan's breath hitched. "I am every choice you never made. Every path you never walked. Every mistake you were too afraid to face." The air grew thick, suffocating. Nathan shook his head. "No," he whispered. "You're lying." The thing's lips curled. Then, it lunged. Nathan dove aside, rolling across the stone path. The creature's hands smashed into the ground, splintering the surface where he had just stood. Nathan scrambled to his feet, his breath coming in short, frantic gasps. The thing turned toward him. Its face was still his. But now, it was grinning. The final warning. Nathan ran again. The path beneath him twisted, shifting like it was alive. The thing followed. It didn't move fast. It didn't have to. No matter how far Nathan ran, the space between them never changed. It was always right behind him. Nathan's mind raced. There had to be a way out. There had to be. Then, a new voice echoed through the darkness. Software. Urgent. "Nathan!" Nathan gasped, skidding to a halt. Alyssa. He whipped his head around. And there, standing at the very edge of the abyss, was Alyssa. But this time, she wasn't hollow. Her eyes weren't black voids. She looked like herself, real, human, terrified. "Nathan," she gasped, reaching toward him. "You have to." The thing behind him let out a low guttural laugh, and Alyssa's voice cut off. Nathan's body froze. His blood ran ice cold. He turned back, slowly, and his heart stopped. The mimic had changed. It no longer looked like him. It no longer looked like a person at all. It was a towering, shifting mass of limbs and mouths and twisted, writhing shadows. Its grin had stretched too wide, teeth gleaming like shards of bone. And in the center of its chest was Alyssa's face, frozen, screaming. Nathan's entire body locked up. The mimic took a step forward. "You can't leave, Nathan." Nathan's stomach twisted. "You belong here now." Nathan's breath shook. His mind screamed at him to move, run, fight, but he was paralyzed. Then, a hand grabbed his wrist. Nathan snapped back to reality. Alyssa was beside him now, pulling him hard. "Go!" she screamed. Nathan stumbled forward, his pulse spiking. The mimic roared. The entire abyss shuddered, the air vibrating with an unnatural force. Nathan ran. But this time, he wasn't alone, and behind them the thing began to follow. Faster, hungrier, and this time, it wasn't going to let them escape. Nathan's lungs burned as he ran. Alyssa was ahead of him, her grip tight around his wrist, pulling him forward. Her breathing was ragged, but she never slowed. Behind them, the mimic was coming. The sound of it was wrong. Not footsteps, not breathing. A crawling, scraping, twisting noise, like something with too many limbs and too many mouths was dragging itself closer. Nathan stole a glance back, and his stomach lurched. The mimic was changing again. Its form had split apart, multiplying, twisting into dozens of shadowed figures. Some had too many arms. Others had no faces at all. And all of them were reaching for him. Nathan's body locked up. "Keep running!" Alyssa's voice snapped him back. She yanked him forward, her fingers digging into his wrist. The path ahead was narrowing. The darkness was closing in. And just when Nathan thought they had nowhere left to go, the bridge appeared. The bridge of the damned. It wasn't like before. This bridge was older, rotten. The wood was cracked, the ropes frayed and covered in something dark. It stretched over the abyss, leading to something shrouded in mist. But Nathan didn't have time to hesitate, because the mimic was almost upon them. Alyssa didn't stop. She ran straight for the bridge, and Nathan had no choice but to follow. The planks creaked, bending beneath their weight. Nathan's heart pounded. He didn't dare look down. One misstep, one crack, and they would fall forever. The fog at the other end began to shift. A shape was forming, a tall, thin figure, waiting, watching. Nathan's chest tightened. "Who?" Before he could finish, the mimic struck, the first attack. Nathan felt it before he saw it, the weight of something massive crashing onto the bridge. The planks buckled violently. Nathan stumbled, nearly slipping through a gap. The mimic's arms, long, black tendrils, shot forward, clawing at the wood, pulling itself across the bridge. Alyssa whirled around, eyes wide. "Nathan, move!" Nathan gritted his teeth. The creature lunged. Nathan ducked, just in time. A clawed hand swiped past his head, raking deep gouges into the wooden planks. Nathan didn't stop to breathe. He ran faster. Alyssa was almost at the other end, but the figure in the mist still hadn't moved. Nathan's mind raced. Who was it? And more importantly, would they help, or were they waiting to drag them back? The Guardian. Nathan was a few feet away when the figure finally spoke. "Stop!" The voice was low, commanding. Alyssa froze, trembling. The figure stepped forward. Nathan skidded to a halt. As the mist parted, Nathan's breath hitched. It was a man, or at least it looked like one. He was tall, impossibly thin, his face pale and stretched too tight over his skull. His eyes were hollow, but his hands, they weren't hands at all. They were bones, sharp, elongated fingers curved like claws. Nathan's stomach twisted. Alyssa's grip tightened around his arm. "Who are you?" Nathan's voice came out hoarse. The man tilted his head. "I am the Guardian." Nathan's pulse spiked. Before he could speak, the mimic let out a deafening shriek. It had reached the center of the bridge, and it was coming fast. Nathan's body reacted before his brain did. He lunged forward, grabbing Alyssa's hand. "We have to go." But the Guardian raised a single hand. The moment he did, the bridge snapped. The fall, again. Nathan felt it instantly. The ground beneath him vanished. For a second he was weightless. Then he was falling. Again. The world blurred, twisted, cracked apart. Nathan didn't scream this time. He couldn't. Because as he fell, he saw something worse than the mimic. Beneath him, the abyss was opening, and inside it were more, dozens, hundreds. Things like the mimic, but older, hungrier. Nathan's chest tightened. He wasn't falling into nothing. He was falling into them. He flailed, twisted, reaching for anything. And then a hand grabbed him. Not Alyssa's, not the Guardian's, but something else. Something that whispered, "You were never meant to leave." Nathan's vision darkened. His breath shattered. And then the world went silent. Nathan's mind was slipping. The whispers grew louder. "You were never meant to leave. You belong here. Give in." The hand gripping his wrist was ice cold, its fingers digging deep into his flesh. Nathan struggled, his heart hammering, but he couldn't move. Something was pulling him down. The abyss was alive. It wasn't just a pit of darkness. It was a mouth, and it was swallowing him whole. The devourer Nathan fought to breathe. His body felt weightless and heavy all at once, as if reality itself was stretching around him. Then, a voice cut through the void. Not a whisper, not the mimic. A real voice. Alyssa. "Nathan!" A sharp tug yanked him upward. The force holding his wrist snapped. Nathan gasped. His body was suddenly soaring, shooting upward, away from the abyss, away from the endless hands reaching for him. He crashed against something solid, a surface. The moment he did, the whispers stopped. The air was silent. Nathan gasped for breath, his pulse racing. His fingers clawed at the ground beneath him. Wood. The bridge. He was back, but not alone. The mimic was still there, and this time, it wasn't chasing. It was waiting. The final confrontation. Nathan forced himself to his feet. Alyssa was beside him, her face pale, terrified. The mimic stood at the edge of the bridge, its form still shifting, warping, melting. But something was different. It wasn't grinning, it was watching. The Guardian stood behind them, his hollow eyes fixed on the mimic. Then, he spoke. "It knows the truth." Nathan froze. The Guardian stepped forward, his skeletal fingers flexing. "This place was never a prison, Nathan." His voice was calm, steady, too steady. "It was a test." Nathan's chest tightened. "A test for what?" The Guardian tilted his head. "For you." Nathan's breath hitched. The mimic began to change. Its limbs folded inward, collapsing into itself. Its face, the face it had stolen from him, was fading. And in its place, Nathan saw something impossible. His own reflection. The truth of the bridge. Nathan took a shaky step forward. The mimic was him. Not a monster, not a demon. It was his shadow, his past, his fear. The Guardian's voice was low. "The bridge does not scream, Nathan." "You do." Nathan staggered. Memories rushed in, flooding his mind. The nightmares, the whispers, the feeling of always running. He had been running from himself, from the choices he never made, from the truth he refused to face. The Guardian stepped aside, gesturing toward the other end of the bridge. "You must choose." Nathan's heart pounded. The mimic, his reflection, watched him, waiting. If he ran now, if he turned back, he knew he would never leave. The bridge would keep screaming. It would trap him here, forever. Nathan closed his eyes. Then, he stepped forward, not away, not back, toward it, the final step. The moment he did, the mimic breathed. Its warped, shifting form stilled. The screaming in the air ceased. And then, It reached out. Nathan didn't pull away. For the first time, he faced it, faced himself. Their hands met, and the world shattered. Darkness exploded outward, unraveling like fabric torn at the seams. The bridge, the endless abyss, began to collapse. The Guardian watched silently. Alyssa gasped. And then, Nathan opened his eyes. He was somewhere else. The other side, the bridge was gone. The darkness was gone. He was standing in the middle of a road. The sky was dark, but it wasn't the abyss. It was real. The sky was dark, but it wasn't the abyss. It was real. Cold wind rushed past him, the scent of rain, earth. Alyssa was beside him, shaking. They had crossed. Nathan turned back. The bridge was still there, but this time it was empty. No shadows, no mimic, no screams, just a bridge. Alyssa exhaled. Is it over? Nathan didn't answer. Instead, he took one last look at the bridge, the place that had trapped so many, the place that had almost trapped him. Then, he turned away, and together, they walked into the night, leaving the bridge behind, forever, the end. Did you expect that ending? What do you think Nathan was truly running from? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more terrifying stories. Would you dare cross the bridge that screams at midnight?